you'd be better off becoming a stripper. People seem to find it hard to relate to these positive examples I keep contrasting to being a video game addict. I say, look at the positive difference you can make in the world. You can be like me, waking up at 5:30 a.m. This is the crack of dawn here. This camera does a great job of making the sky look brighter than it is. You could be pursuing some kind of positive political change. You could be a creative artist. You could be a writer. You could be learning a language. Traveling the world, and I don't mean as a tourist. Okay, that seems to be pretty hard for people in my audience to relate to. So let's take it all the way down to ground level. What do you think is really better or worse for you? Short term or long term? Being a video game addict or being a stripper? Now, even if being a stripper is not good in itself, as an end in itself, think about the ways in which you're actually developing a bunch of skills. You're developing a kind of self-discipline that you could apply to many other things in life for decades thereafter. If you're a stripper, yes, obviously, you learn to balance your diet, exercise, maintain a certain kind of physical condition, work to a certain kind of schedule. You learn how to work with people. You learn how to work with all the other crazy strippers at your nightclub. Hashtag not all strippers. But you are going to work with some crazy customers. You're going to work with some crazy dancers. You're going to learn to manage the contrasting personality types of the security guards, the bouncers, the bartenders, right? It's actually a lot of very strange kind of knowledge you're picking up. In some ways, it's similar to being a police officer or a private investigator. You're learning a lot about how the city works after midnight. You're learning a lot of hidden things that ain't written down in no book, being a stripper at a strip club. And then you could apply this to other fields of endeavor for the rest of your life. And I think a lot of women, they have a brief period of being a stripper, maybe for 2 years or 5 years, whatever it turns out to be, for quite a short time, and they move on. Okay, how does that contrast to being a couch potato? How does that contrast to being passively entertained, sitting and pressing buttons? And look, most of you watch this video, you're selfish. Instinctually, you're selfish. So I can ask you, as a man, would you rather be married to a stripper or be married to a video game addict? You know which one you'd prefer? I could ask the heterosexual women in the audience too. Would you rather be with a guy who's a stripper, being a male stripper, very, very high standard for physical fitness, or a guy who's a video game addict? But again, you can't look at it with only a single stage of analysis. If you become a musician, if you study a language like Chinese, and then it ends up not working out, let's put it that way. You work so hard to be a musician for 10 years, but then you figure you can't make it, you can't really have a career as a musician long term. You work on Chinese for some period of time, but then you figure that's not viable as your career long term and you have to give up. Nevertheless, the ways you have developed as a person, what it is you've learned to do, including how you work with others, that's something you're going to be able to apply in other fields. And, I use the word author broadly. Whenever you're coming up with some original meaning, some thought, something that nobody has ever thought of before, that's authorship. And you're challenging yourself to do something new and different. You're challenging everyone else who is alive in our times to think and feel a different way than they ever have ever before, or anyone ever has ever before. There are things you can learn being a stripper or studying a language or being a musician that are going to help you challenge yourself to grow, challenge our society to grow, challenge the whole world population to grow and change as never before. And that's just not true of signing up to be passively entertained, pressing buttons, playing video games.